Okay, we're live. We're pretty much live. Hoping some people can join and we can start talking about some fights. Oh. That's looking crappy. Like, you need to be like down here. Okay. And okay. That looks a bit better, right? Anyway, we'll be waiting a little bit for people to join in and we'll begin talking. I'll be sharing in some other places and we'll begin. Okay. Hey, Dr. Jones, how are you, man? You're on time this today. Hey, Ghost, appreciate your support. We're here to break down some not very good fights, but we'll see what's up. I mean, I like some of the fights this Saturday. It's kind of disappointing overall as an event, but it is all right. It is okay. We degenerates want some fights back, even if they're not like super good. So yeah, let me get my DAW running and we can begin. Because I need to put up the recorded version too. Okay. What's up, everyone? I'm Feño from the Fight Site, and this is the first of the year. This is the Early Prelim podcast, and we're here to talk about the UFC. We have our first event of the year here. We have Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribas 2, a rematch. Their first fight was 5 years ago, so that's kind of crazy, right? But we'll get into that I mean, let's get into that. Why not? Um, let's get right into the main event. So the UFC is back after I feel like 3 or 4 weeks without fights, and our main event is about in the strawweight division. And what are the ranks officially in the UFC? They don't have the ranks in the poster, but yeah, I mean, we have Mackenzie Dern coming off a win against Lupita Godinez that was kind of close, and she lost 2 rough fights against Amanda Lemos and Jessica Andrade. She took a lot of damage there. While Amanda Ribas was moving out, was trying like fighting at both divisions at the same time. Hey Madlocks Fight Tag, welcome. Remember that you can listen to this live, but I'm also offering a recorded version on all podcast platforms. So Amanda Ribas was fighting at flyweight for a while. She got a bad loss against Macy Barber, who is finally coming into her own right. And then she got a nice win down at strawweight against Luana Pinheiro, where she looked great. Like, she didn't look like super technical, but the pace, the aggression, she broke Luana Pinheiro. An amazing finish, a spinning wheel kick and follow-up punches. That was great. That was fantastic. And then she moved back up to 125 to fight for a fellow former strawweight in Rose Namajunas in a very close fight. I mean, I don't think this was very talked about because the fight was very was not very exciting for a lot of people. But I thought like you could make an argument for Amanda Ribas winning that fight. So yeah, we have the rematch here. Their first fight, as Dr. Jones was saying in the chat, a rematch of a total squash match. That was a very clean win by Amanda Ribas. So for those that don't know, Mackenzie Dern, a very decorated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grappler. She was undefeated at the time, and she fought up-and-coming Amanda Ribas, Jiu-Jitsu black belt and Judo black belt. And Ribas was just one step ahead the whole time. A lot better use of the jab, countering very well, a lot of pull counters, baiting with the jab, evading Mackenzie Dern's right hand, big right hand. She always had power in that right hand. But a lot of the game plan of Ribas was revolved around neutralizing Mackenzie Dern's right hand, intercepting with the jab, blocking with the high elbow, hiding behind the lead shoulder, and then countering. And when it came to takedown defense, Amanda Ribas always using very good use of the whizzer, using the whizzer to sprawl. She got a very nice Harai Goshi on that first round when Mackenzie Dern got a clean body lock. So that was very impressive. A clean body lock, but didn't get the hips close enough. So Amanda Ribas step across, grab the whizzer, hip toss, beautiful Harai Goshi. Amanda Ribas also doing damage during transitions when defending takedowns and staying safe when she got top position of the reversal. So a very complete shutdown of Amanda Ribas in that fight. So that was cool stuff. That was a very cool fight, and I was very, very high on Ribas. So what has changed since then? I feel like Mackenzie Dern has improved her striking a little bit, especially her jab. And that could be something because the jab was a big factor in their first fight. Because Amanda Ribas was making use of a very good jab, and Dern was pretty much just like flashing the jab to line up the big right hand and was not being very successful with that. So now that Mackenzie Dern has like a mechanically nice jab under the tutelage of Jason Parillo, and she's back with Parillo, right? Let me know in the chat if she's right with she's been with Parillo again in her last fight, I guess. So yeah, that could be something. But Ribas still has the pace, still has the aggression, and she still has the judo chops, the scrambling. So I feel like I'm favoring Ribas, but there's a possibility for Mackenzie Dern to win again. So yeah, I mean, not very excited because of the place that they both are right now, but this is still like a cool fight. I just wish they made place for another main event. I'm not against this rematch, even though I'm not the biggest fan of rematches, but I would rather see a more like division relevant fight headlining here. And also, you know that this is on the Apex, so Zuckerberg, that fucking lizard, is going to be there like, oh my god, Mackenzie Dern, all that kind of shit, you know? They're doing it for the suck, and especially because this week was announced that Dana White is now part of some like he has some share position in Meta right now. The Meta is the company that Zuckerberg owns, that owns Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and other stuff. So yeah, that's for the non-fighting part. Let me get to the chat. Let me get to my boys here. Fear, we have Rio Sosen. Hi, I'm an Dern hater because if she wins, people will say she has the potential to be the woman greatest of all time. If she only had one takedown, do you think she will never get better? She has improved. She has improved a little bit, but I don't think she has improved in the right places. I guess she has been getting. I don't know. She has improved, but not to the level that you would expect. And right now, Mackenzie Dern is like, she's 31, so she's not super old, and she's only like 19 fights into her career. But she comes off a long jiu-jitsu career, and she has taken a lot of damage. So I'm not holding my breath for Mackenzie Dern champion, but it could happen. Like, she has an ace card that allows her to win fights. She's very dangerous on the ground. James Kendrick says, do you think Ribas watched the Dern Lemos fight where Lemos picked her apart at range with calf kicks, body kicks, and the jab? She can do a little bit of that. I think she can mix a little bit of what she already did with the pull counters, but those will be harder this time around because, as I said, Mackenzie Dern's jab has gotten a lot better in the years since the fight. It's like the big change. And maybe they're better at scrambles in an MMA context now that she used to be, so that could be interesting too. Dr. Jones says, I don't think Dern has gotten any better at all, but I also think Ribas has regressed enough for it to be a much more winnable fight for Dern. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Ribas has regressed a little bit technically. I felt like she looked very good in that fight against Mackenzie Dern. She has gotten away for some stuff, but at the same time, I feel like Ribas still has scrappiness. She still has like the better instincts inside the pocket. They have like relatively the same amount of power and durability, so it's like pretty close. Ghost says Dern's jab is actually mechanically good since she puts off her back foot, but she also gets stuck and takes a lot of time to reset. Is there a factor here? Yeah, I mean, if she's still taking a lot of time to reset, that should be an opportunity for Ribas to get back at it with the right hand and with the counters that were very popular. I mean, not popular, very effective the first time around, right? Is So going to rent out the Apex again and look at their booty? Probably, man. You know Zuckerberg, and now that Zuckerberg and Dana are like buddy, you know? I think that I had Darren's husband booked in a squash match too as a favor to Zuck. Yeah, but I really hope Ribas spoils the night for that lizard Zuckerberg, man. Cannot stand that dude, especially now that he's like cool and edgy and shit. He's like even way lamer than when he looked like a fucking I don't know, lizard people, man. So our co-main event, this is Protection Neck mentioned in the chat, booty burglarization robbery potential here. There is the potential here, right? Dern has a lot of big moments, so if it is close, I would not be surprised to see the swing rounds going on Mackenzie Dern's side. Our co-main events is in the jank weight division, completely established in the jank weight division. We have Santiago Poncinibio, or whatever is left of him, against Carson Harris, who is like a janky guy all around. This one is going to be ugly, but I guess this is going to be exciting. I don't expect much for Poncinibio nowadays. He has looked pretty lost since coming back from the injury after beating Magny, right? He had close fights against Jeff Neal and Michel Pereira, and those had aged kind of well. But after that, he had like that comeback against Alex Morono, but he looked pretty bad before the knockout there. And then against Kevin Holland and against Muslim Salikov, he does not look very good, man. Carson Harris is coming off a knockout against Chaos Williams. He got knocked out like the fuck up on the first round. And very nice sequence by Chaos Williams, who I have been a hater for a long time. But Chaos Williams cleaned up the mechanics for that knockout, and he showed me. But before that, he had a very impressive win against Jeremiah Wells. So yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of this co-main event. If you guys have any take on this. James Kendrick says, Ponzinibbio makes me so sad. He looks so good against Magny with his body jab. Yeah, he looked very good, and with the calf kicks too, right? Body jab, calf kick. He was like pressuring, but very measured. And then he was layering the right hands on top of that. And there's not a lot of that right now. Like Ponzinibbio is just like bouncing, and 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. So yeah, man, Ponzinibbio is not the same guy that he used to be, man. It's probably related to the amount of training that he can get done nowadays, because he's not as sharp anymore. He has been in and he doesn't look like that shot physically, but you can tell that he doesn't, like, he's not in the same place. I felt like Ponzinibbio is still kind of quick, but he's a lot less durable, and he was a lot smarter as a fighter. The Argentine Dagger. Oh man, I personally am an enjoyer of the Genti Boa nickname, to be honest. Ponzinibbio versus Larkin, that was a banger. That was a while ago, but that was a great fight. I mean, it's Lorenz Larkin and like pre-prime Ponzinibbio that has a banger written all over it. But yeah, guys, if you want, watch that fight because it's very good. So what else we have in this card? Oh yeah, we have Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Jesus Christ, I've never had trouble with that name before. And he's fighting Cesar Almeida, so I feel like Cesar Almeida is going to execute Al Hassan. Not gonna lie here. It's such a bad matchup. Like, the only chance that Al Hassan can land something huge, right? He has power, but I feel like Al Hassan is coming out to wrestle here. But he's not good at setting up the wrestling with the striking, and that's something that Kopylov was effective with, even though, like, Kopylov, because Al Hassan is like a decorated judo player, right? I don't feel like he's going into those positions. Almeida is pretty strong in the clinch too, so I'm feeling like Almeida is going to hurt this guy, man. Also, like, do you really want to be the older guy against Cesar Almeida? Because like the thing about Cesar Almeida is he's kind of old, that he's coming from kickboxing with a lot of mileage and all that. But Hassan is old as shit, man. He's 39 years old. So yeah, I mean, this should be a showcase performance for Cesar Almeida. I don't know what's the deal with the matchmaking, man. And Almeida is coming off a win too. I mean, against the Duelist, and we'll be talking about the Duelist later, right? I know a lot of you guys don't like him. Over the years, I became a little bit of a Poteria fan. Don't blame me, but yeah, this should be. I don't know what's the deal with the matchmaking in this one. To be honest, I don't get it. What else we have? What else? Oh, this one is the cool fight of the night. This one is the cool fight of the night. We have Chris Curtis, the Action Man, against Roman Kopylov. So this one is cool, man. This is southpaw on southpaw action. Curtis obviously is coming off that split loss against Brendan Allen. I just rewatched that, and I scored that for Chris Curtis, to be honest. Like 3 or 4 rounds to him, to be honest. Some rounds were close though, but I feel like Chris Curtis won that fight. And Kopylov is coming off that win against Cesar Almeida on the main card of that pay-per-view, right? So this one is interesting because Kopylov usually falls apart when you push him, and we know Chris Curtis not very good at pressuring people. But if he managed to get on the face of Kopylov, he will have a big advantage inside the pocket, I feel. Even though Kopylov is a big puncher, he's very fast, he has some looks, but Chris Curtis offers another level of depth in that area, especially with the body punching that I feel like Kopylov is going to hate. Chris Curtis offers some of the similar threats that Cesar Almeida did, with better boxing but not as good kicking, and that's a big advantage in the corner of Kopylov here. So yeah, I'm guessing that Kopilov is going to look to kick and move on the outside here and blitz and take an angle on Curtis, and it will be on Curtis to get the counter game going and fix the footwork and try to trap Kopilov against the fence, because if he does that and he starts putting the combinations together, especially the body head, I feel like Chris Curtis can very much win this fight. He can get the finish here. But if he is just like waiting for the exchanges, I don't think Kopilov is going to give them to me. So Chris Curtis will going to depend on his counters to win this fight. And I don't like his odds very much, but if Chris Curtis shows up with the right ideas to try to corner Kopilov against the fence and put the combinations together and make the most out of his counters, he can probably win this one. Let's get back to the chat here. I'm a certified Chris Curtis enjoyer and defender. Same, man. I just hate that he's defeated by fighters circle past his lead leg. Kopilov likes to circle back to his rear side. His body kick won't be a factor here because he's Southpaw versus Southpaw. Should Curtis just walk up to him knowing that the threat isn't there? Yeah, pretty much. But he should be careful of the close side head kick by Kopilov. That one has been dangerous in Southpaw versus Southpaw matchups in the past. Also, leg kicks. Chris Curtis has pretty decent body kick defense. But leg kicks look kind of concerning, especially because he stands heavy on that front foot, to have the options to the heft movement, to the weaves, to the sweeps, to both sides. Curtis is also an insanely good takedown defender. Yeah, I mean, if Kopilov tries to shoot a takedown here, unless there's something wrong with Chris Curtis, he's not taking this man down, man. He's so strong. He's a fucking wall. And we saw him being taken down a few times against Brendan Allen, but that was first, very short notice. And two, Chris Curtis was injured for most of that fight. The injury just got worse on that fifth round, but he fought that fight like pretty much all injured. So we're fanboying here for Chris Curtis. But this is a very cool fight. I'm a fan of both these guys, so I'm having my expectations set for this one. Oh yeah, Gastelum versus Curtis was a cool fight, but I feel like Gastelum won that one on the strength of an illegal headbutt, right? I felt like if you score by actually legal strikes, you should give that fight to Curtis, at least in my opinion. What else we have? We have Bashi versus C-Rod. So I have a little story to tell you guys on this one. So back on the Contender Series day when Bashi fought, that was 4 months ago. So Bashi looked like a very dominant grappler that was getting tired pushing his own pace, and he was showing a lot of openings on the feet, but he should be improving very fast, right? But he's very promising. He's like a monster of a dude. So he wins that fight, and I tweet immediately after that fight. I tweet like, "Oh, Austin Bashi is the kind of fighter that loses to Christian Rodriguez," right? I just tweet that out, and then a month ago, Showtime Anthony Pettis, out of nowhere, he likes that tweet, and I was like, "What the fuck is?" And for those that don't know, Anthony Pettis, C-Rod trains out of Rufusport, and I think that Rufusport, who has been all the gym from the Pettis brothers for their whole career. And I think like Pettis is now like a part owner of the gym with Rufus. But anyway, so Anthony Pettis likes that tweet, right? And I'm like, why is Anthony Pettis liking this old ass tweet? And then the fight gets announced. So he was looking, man. He was searching for C-Rod's name. I'm a bit scared for C-Rod. I feel like he has the tools, but I don't know, man. I don't like the physicality of C-Rod up at 145. I don't know, man. He's too small for 145. I hate to say this because I hate that fighters need to be huge, but fighters are so fucking big in the UFC. And I feel like Bashi is going to be like, he's supposed to be shorter, but Bashi, man, he's going to look huge next to C-Rod. I hope I'm wrong, man. And I hope C-Rod can compete physically, because if he can, I feel like this is his fight to lose. Like, he's cool, man. I'm a big C-Rod fan. Bashi is an exciting prospect, though. I'm not hating on Bashi, man. He beat up Raul Rosas just by being composed. Yeah, but being composed and being very good in transitions, man. Also finding cutting edge of transitional ideas in the division. Yeah, for sure, man. He's so good everywhere. I mean, it came to bite him in the ass in his last fight against Erosa, right? Because like there was no need for Zero to be like wrestling super hard, but he's like he's never afraid of wrestling with anyone. So there's that, right? Look on the left. Look like if Rojas Jr. went into Crazy House of Mirror. He's like handsome Squidward version of Raul Rosas, man. Anyway, this is a cool fight. This is a very cool fight. I'm excited about this one. Puna Ela Soriano against Uros Medic, man. This one is interesting. So former middleweight against former lightweight, those are always fun. But I feel like they are going to be like pretty much the same size inside the cage. The former lightweight is going to be taller here. Medic is built as 6'1" against the 5'11" Puna. The thing with Puna is that as long as he can make weight safely at 170, he's so fucking strong, man. He's a beast of a dude. And people forget that Puna is a very good wrestler. But man, if it stays on the feet, Medic is rough, man. And Medic is a nasty guy. And he's the kind of nasty guy that puts like doubts in people's minds. And I feel like Puna tries to fight through it, but he's the kind he doesn't break, but he starts doubting himself. So that's concerning, right? But if Puna can mix in the takedowns and find some big shots on the feet, that could be a winnable fight for him. So this one is kind of interesting. A lot better than Ponzinibbio versus Harris, to be honest. I like this one a bit more. I feel like these guys are a little bit more relevant, man. I mean, Carson Harris is okay. Dr. John says he's talking about C-Rod, by the way. His fight with Simon was just two guys fearing each other. Beautiful. That fight's so cool, man. And C-Rod was like one step ahead, and Simon was so game in that one, but C-Rod was like beating his ass at the end, man. That was very cool. So yeah, I mean, Puna should look for to use his power. I think this is Southpaw versus Southpaw. I'm not super sure if Medic is Southpaw, but I think he is. Puna is Southpaw, so Puna should try to land the big left hand, transition into takedowns, and if he gets the fight to the ground, just use like the wrist rights and that kind of stuff that he used against Miguel Baez and just go to town, man. For Medic, it's very clear. Move on the outside, use the long kicks, close distance, go into the clinch, use the nasty elbows and the knees. It is a cool fight, man. This is good. This is okay. Next fight is Jose Johnson versus Felipe Bunes. I'm a Jose Johnson hater because, like, you cannot be 6 feet tall and make flyweight. What the hell is going on, man? How does that even happen, man? For reference, I'm like I'm 5'5", 5'6", something around there, and I cannot make flyweight, man. Way too big for flyweight. And how the fuck is this guy making flyweight? He's probably not 6 feet tall, right? He's probably like 5'10", but 5'10" making flyweight, dude, what the fuck, man? So I'm a hater, man. I'm a hater. He must be so skinny, man. I mean, like. And he looks like jacked. I mean, like, he has like an harmonious body despite being like a fucking rail. But yeah, I'm a hater just for that reason, man. And yeah, Felipe Bunes he lost to Joshua Ban, which is like a brutal debut, right? He had like a decent career. He fought in ACA and in LFA, so he has been fighting like decent level competition, but I have not seen tape on Felipe Bunes, so I cannot comment on that. Okay, what's next? We have Marco Tulio versus Ihor Potieria, the duelist. Oh man, I know the duelist is not popular, man. I know people hate him, but man, I just hope he wins because he got robbed by Cesar Almeida. Not in the traditional sense that he deserved the decision, but the fucking referee, man, allowed Almeida to foul him time and time again. And I feel like Potieria has been improving since moving to middleweight. He has been looking pretty good. He was finding some cool takedowns and was doing accomplishing some stuff on the feet despite being like very hurt to the balls and having his eyes raked numerous times. So yeah, man. And he got robbed against Michel Pereira too, because Michel Pereira did the stupid backflip, land with a knee to the head of a down opponent, illegal strike. So I feel for the duelist, man. I want him to win so bad. Marco Trulio is going from Contender Series. He won his fight by spinning back kick, and I don't remember that fight, man. So I'm just rooting for my boy the duelist by default, man. I'm throwing cans at the screen. Boo, get the guy off the screen. Everyone hates the Ihor because he did the Fortnite dance against Shogun. But you guys need to understand that he did not shoot. He did not shoot because he respects his opponent. So don't be too rough, man. This one is good, but it's also like the next fight is Thiago Moises against Drake Ogden, by the way. So this is a lightweight. These are like very well put together fighters. These are like guys that can do it all, that are very well rounded, but they're like kinda generic, man. Like both Thiago Moises and Trey Ogden, they're like cool sometimes, especially when they do stuff in transition or come into a fight with a very good idea. But they don't have that X factor that make you go like, oh, I like this fighter. At least not to me. Like if you like Ogden or Thiago Moises, like no, nothing against that. But to me, these guys are like cool. But I mean, they are good, but they are not cool, right? I'm not hating here, man. But I'm expecting this one to be a good fight, and it's quite intriguing, man. Thiago Moises is kind of small for the division, and Trey Ogden is a big dude, man. But Thiago Moises is like the more athletic, probably has more power in his punches, a little bit faster. And both guys very well rounded and came with like very like well put together game plans all the time. So this is an interesting fight, man. And these are like very good fighters to have in a division because they are very good to test prospects, to put against other veterans. So I'm all for having Thiago Moises and Trey Ogden in the division. Next fight is interesting because we have a fight between Jacoby Smith, who was very impressive in his Contender Series debut fight, which earned him a contract for the UFC, against Preston Parsons. Preston Parsons, who I was very surprised to learn like quite a few fights ago that he does not have a wrestling background. But he's a very good wrestler, man. He used to hang out with the wrestlers, man. That's what Anik said during the broadcast, and it makes sense because he's a good wrestler, man. Preston Parsons could not. He fought a fellow like well-rounded guy in Owen Elliott, and he got kinda outplayed, man. Owen Elliott showed up with very good takedown defense, more output on the feet. Jacoby Smith, this one is different, man, because Jacoby Smith is a fucking beast of a dude. He's like so strong and athletic, but maybe if Parsons can use his wrestling chops defensively, he can defend him, and we could maybe have a very interesting fight because Jacoby Smith strikes me like the kind of guy that just walks over people, even though he has a few like unanimous decision wins, but maybe those are very dominant too, so you never know how those guys react when it comes to a very hard-fought fight. Jacoby Smith fights out of AKA, by the way, so that's interesting. Is Preston Parsons a guy that the UFC used to feed prospects? It seems like he's assuming that role right now, right? I mean, he fought Trevin Giles and Semmelsberger before that, so those are old guys, but maybe he's now like settling into that role. So let's get into the next fight. And we have Ernesta Kariskaite against Nicole Cagliari. I don't remember Cagliari, man. She won with an armbar on Contender Series. I have no idea, man. Kariskaite had that crazy fight against Carly Judice on Contender Series. And then she had another crazy fight, but not as cool. A very dumb fight against Diony Barbosa on that UFC Rio event, the pay-per-view. So yeah, I mean, no comments for this one. What's the next one? Well, Magomed Gadjiasulov against Bruno Lopez. So both contender series guys. Gadjiasulov is the guy that beat the shit out of Jose Medina, the Bolivian guy that everyone loved, who got his ass kicked again in his UFC debut. And Gadjiasulov, man, he was getting his ass kicked by Branson Hibero during the first round in their fight, but then he rallied back to win the second and the third, if I remember right. Bruno Lopez is kind of cool. Like, he goes to the body, he has knees to the body, he punches to the body sometimes, but he's kind of like low output. So I'm guessing the safe pick here is Gadjiasulov, but Bruno Lopez is dangerous, man. And he's kind of cool especially for like heavyweight. You can be a lot worse than Bruno Lopez, so that's okay. After that, we have Victoria Dudakova versus Fatima Klein. I don't remember much of Fatima Klein. I remember she lost to Jasmine Jasudavicius, but I don't remember that fight very well. And Dudakova lost to another pace fighter in Sam Hirsch in a split decision that I thought it was the right call. I thought that Sam Hirsch won that fight. So yeah, no comment for that one. And the opener, Joe Solecki, he was supposed to fight, I don't remember, but he was supposed to fight someone else. He's taking on short notice on Nurulo Aliyev. Aliyev, for those that don't remember, he had a win almost 2 years ago against Rafael Alves, that crazy Brazilian guy that had that banger against Drew Dober, man. That was a crazy fight. That was great. And Solecki, man, two fight skid right here. Even though he's a very solid fighter, but he got knocked out by Drakkar Klose with that crazy slam, and then he got like out Solecki'd by Grant Dawson in his last fight. So yeah, future karate combat goat Rafa Alves, man. That's right, man. He's killing it over there. That fucking crazy promotion with crazy people. And Sam Alvey as their heavyweight champion, right? Sam Alvey is fighting Robelis de Spain, by the way. That's insane, right? Yeah, this is interesting because I'm expecting Aliyev, coming from Tajikistan, to be a very good wrestler. I don't remember his fight with Rafael Alves. But Solecki is not bad on the feet. So, interesting fight. James Kerritt asked me, how would you rate this card as a whole from 1 to 10, 1 being the worst? It's like a 6.5. If the fights deliver, this could be a 7, maybe. Fights I'm looking forward here. The main event is okay. But really, the fights that I want to see, I kind of want to see Cesar Almeida get a big knockout. I'm a fan of Cesar Almeida. But yeah, Chris Curtis versus Kopilov and Bachi versus Rodriguez. Those are very good fights. Puna versus Medic might be fun, maybe. And yeah, those are the fights, man. Jacoby Smith versus Preston Parsons is very intriguing to me, man. I'm looking forward to that one too. Oh, Aliyev is boring. Well, Solecki can be exciting, but he also has like no trouble being a fucking lame guy, right? So yeah, that's the event, man. I'll be watching Fight Companion. Remember, I'll be streaming probably the whole main card. So I'll be live if you guys want to join me for the fights. Let's get into. Oh, I didn't change the picture there, but yeah, let's get into some fight announcements. So first of all, Pragno was supposed to welcome back Jimmy Crute to the division, but Pragno is out, and Crute is now having in my opinion, a way harder fight against Rodolfo Bellato, man. But Bellato had that crazy fight against the Duelist, crazy rally to get the knockout back. And Jimmy Crute, I'm glad that he took that time. He took that time off. Because he was taking a lot of damage, man. So hopefully Jimmy Crute worked on some stuff and he has gotten better, man. Because he's like an exciting prospect. My girl, Angela Hill, is fighting Ketlin Souza, who is almost a girl too. Like, I like Ketlin Souza. To be honest, like, the factor here is like Angela's age, right? Because I feel like Caitlin Sosa is exactly the kind of fighter that loses to Angela Hill. But if Angela Hill is starting to lose a step, because like he's like 40 years old, it could happen. She fights a lot. So yeah. But it's a cool fight, man. It's a cool fight. Wanted to give a shout out to that one. What else we have? Rob Font versus Dominic Cruz. Kind of a crazy fight, right? I mean, both are super old, but this is still like... is Angela Hill fighting style not good for older fighters? I mean, she has a lot of good qualities for an old fighter. Like she still keeps a very high pace, even though she can get kind of tired. But she makes sure that she makes her opponents work a lot too, and she's very nasty in the clinch. She goes to the body a lot and she counters a lot. The countering part can be a bit troublesome if you're not getting the right reads. But the clinch I like a lot for all fighters, to be honest, especially because she goes to the body a lot with nasty knees. And that's a great tool for an old fighter, I feel. She's pretty strong too, so yeah, I think like she has a style. Yeah, the UFC does not want to make Dominic Cruz versus Aldo. We are now having Rob Font against Dominic Cruz. Interesting fight, especially because Dominic is like clearly the older guy here, but Rob Font still he fights like an old guy right now, right? Even though he won that fight against Kyle Phillips. But he looked like the veteran, like the old guy in that one. The thing is that will Dominic Cruz will be able to get takedowns here? Because Rob Font's takedown defense has looked very sketchy as of late. But at the same time, Dominic Cruz is not great at keeping people down. But he's very good at mat wrestling. So if they get into scrambles, Rob Font might be able to get up. But Dominic Cruz, he will be striking during transitions. He will be... doing mat returns and that kind of stuff, so I feel like this is an interesting fight, man. Dominic Cruz fighting for only 3 rounds is always kind of weird, right? I still don't get used to that. Oh, this one is intriguing, man. So we have Song Yadong versus Henry Cejudo. This is going on at UFC Seattle on February 22nd. I feel like Cejudo is too old, man. That's my take. Like Song Yadong has been taken down, but he's usually being taken down during transitions, because against very good wrestlers. Cejudo is obviously a very good wrestler, like gold medal, yada yada. We all know that, but I feel like Cejudo doesn't have the greatest transitions. Song Yadong is a lot bigger than Cejudo. He's probably stronger at this point. He's a physical beast. Cejudo is also a tremendous athlete, but he's a tremendous athlete that used to make flyweight, and he's very old. So I feel like Song Yadong is gonna shoot his legs up at range, and he's going to jab his face as well. But Henry Cejudo, he's a dog, man. He's a dog. He tries very hard. Can Font do the Garbrandt game plan? Not really, because even though like Rob Font is a very good boxer, he's a good boxer in a different way than Cody Garbrandt. The thing about Cody Garbrandt in his prime is that he was pristine as his mechanics, as a mechanical boxer. The footwork, the punches, the head movement, everything was so pretty. So when Cody Garbrandt was not losing his cool, he was always balanced, he was always in position, and that was what allowed him to exploit the crazy tendencies of Dominic Cruz. Rob Font is a very good boxer, but he's more of a mental kind of guy, right? Like he's a thinking's man. But his mechanics are not Cody Garbrandt's mechanics. He's a lot more janky. He's a lot more jittery on his feet. His footwork is not as clean. His right hand is a lot uglier. It is a lot wider. He has a pretty good jab, but that was not what Cody Garbrandt used to beat Cruz. So I feel like Rob Font really needs to get the jab going. Maybe some calf kicks. Use maybe high kicks to stand Cruz up, and then punish the deep slips of Dominic Cruz. Hopefully grabbing like collar ties and trying to nail him with uppercuts. I would guess that that's the path for Rob Font here. Sammy Arnett says this one is weird. Song is only on the counter with good get-ups and this takedown defense. Cejudo doesn't go for takedowns a lot. Song Yadong is very strong in the clinch. I'm not expecting Cejudo to get easy entries for body lock to make use of his like legendary inside trip here. So yeah, Cejudo needs to uncork that pace that he used on Marlon Moraes. Yeah, if he fights a slower pace here, Song Yadong is going to he's going to mess him up, man. I feel that. What else? Oh, my boy Guti, man, no. My boy Guti, Chris Gutierrez is fighting Jan Matsumoto, and I'm kind of scared about this one. I feel like Guti is for sure better on the feet. Like, Matsumoto is probably a better boxer, but like a striker overall, I feel like Gutierrez with the leg kicks and the jab and moving on the outside, he has a lot of the tools to frustrate Jan Matsumoto, as he has frustrated most of his opponents on the feet. But the thing is that Matsumoto is a good wrestler, man, and he's not afraid at all to mix it up. We saw in his fights against Katona and against what's the name of that wrestler guy? But yeah, I mentioned both of those in my 25 underrated prelim fights. Go check that video right now. I mean, not right now because you're listening to the pod, but show some love to that video, please, guys. But yeah, I'm kind of scared. I feel like Matsumoto is going to mix it up. He's going to be more successful with the boxing once that he gets the wrestling going. So I'm not very confident in my boy Guti here, man. That makes me kind of sad. Going back to the chat, Ghost says Henry likes to fight at range, and Yadong doesn't have good leads. Henry likes the long distance, so can Song get good leads on this one? Song Yadong has like a sharp mechanical jab, and he has nasty kicks at range, man. And Cejudo is a decent kicker, but he's so stubby that he needs to like close the distance, right? Cejudo has a nasty body kick, but I feel like Song Yadong is like better well versed in the world of kicks. He's like an actual good kickboxer. We saw that in his fight against Chris Gutierrez, right? Who we are talking about right now. What's the next fight that I had on deck? Oh, that one's spicy. So yeah, Mansour Abdul Malik is fighting Antonio Trocoli, man. Trocoli, the boyfriend of Mackenzie Dern, who is fucking crazy, man. He tried to set up Bobby Green to King Green, excuse me, to ambush him. He was stalking Mackenzie Dern's ex, so he's a crazy guy. And Trocoli is legendary for shitting the bed against Shara Bullet, right? And Mansour Abdul Malik is like a super hype-up prospect. He's super athletic. So I feel like the UFC doesn't like Trocoli. Or maybe this is Zuckerberg, right? This is Zuckerberg getting rid of Trocoli. Give me the dangerous, most unknown guy you have to get rid of Mackenzie Dern's boyfriend. Oh, she dumped him after he got me himself. That's fantastic, man. That's so funny. Do you remember when Goody needed Frankie Edgar? Man, that was crazy, man. That was so clean. That was the retirement of Frankie Edgar. That was insane, man. Edgar versus Cruz. Yeah, that would be a good fight. That was a cool fight at one moment. It's crazy that we never got to see it because Frankie Edgar waited until he was like 40 years old to make the cut to 135, man. Okay, what's next? This one is weird, man. This one is fucking weird. Charles Johnson, Inner G, is fighting Ramazan Temirov. Like nothing against Temirov, but what's the deal with making Charles Johnson fighting these kind of prospects, man? Didn't he earn his way to bigger fights? The UFC is making this guy dirty. This fight is very good, man. I'm not against the fight as a fight, but I feel like the UFC is doing Charles Johnson dirty. They do not like Charles Johnson, man. They want him to lose, man. That's the only thing that I can see about this matchmaking, man. Maybe Johnson wants to stay active because he needs the money and he's getting these kind of fights. That's another probability. But man, do you hate Charles Johnson for being racist towards Japanese fighters? I feel like that was more of a very ignorant comment. But I don't feel like I don't like to judge people for being ignorant. Like, and that it sucks that he made that comment, but I don't know the guy personally, so I cannot tell if he's like actually racist, right? Um, he's maybe just trying to start hitting the wrong way, but it's very unfortunate. I gotta say that. Like, I do not like people making any kind of racist uh, comments, man. It sucks, man. But at the same time, like, the UFC is a crazy place, man. The MMA fighters are people that I'm not making excuses for MMA fighters, but you gotta understand that they come from crazy backgrounds sometimes. So yeah, man. Maybe sometimes people do not measure the weight of their words, and obviously we're dealing with adults here, so fighters should know better. But at the same time, man, who knows? I just really hope that Charles Johnson is just stupid and he's not like a racist guy. But yeah, this is a great fight, man. Going back into like the fighting aspect. This one is weird. So Jonathan Diniz did not pass the Marcin Tybura test because he cannot grapple at all. And he's welcoming Vitor Petrino to the heavyweight division. And that's crazy, man, because Petrino is a big dude. He's like very big dude. But I feel like he should be able to make 205, right? But hey, who knows? Maybe he saw what Jailton was making at heavyweight and he said like, maybe I can do a little bit of that, but not wrestling as much because I also have power. I don't know, man. But Petrino's probably looking for takedowns on this one because Diniz is like a better striker than him, a bigger. Maybe not bigger, man, because maybe Petrino can put on like 10 pounds and be one of the biggest guys in the division, just like Jailton did, man. A lot of these heavyweights are kind of fluffy, man. And when these like super jack dudes put on a few solid pounds, suddenly they're just the same size as these guys, man. But this is a very weird fight. Hope Petrino comes up, you sapped, I'm white as hell. Man, I can only dream that Petrino shows up at like 245 with still with abs. Like being like thick as shit, man. That's the dream, man. Because Petrino has a fucking fantastic physique, man. Charles Johnson is so inconsistent. I think that's the issue. He's either an all-action banger or very tepid stop-start pace. Yeah, he's very consistent, but I feel like he's finally finding his groove, man. What else we have? What else we have? Oh, this one is interesting because both of these girls were prospects like 5, 6 years ago. And now they're like veterans of the division. So Andrea Lee is fighting JJ Aldrich. JJ Aldrich, an interesting southpaw boxer. She used to train a lot with Rose Namajunas. And Andrea Lee, the girl that loves to date racist guys. And like, not like the Charles Johnson kind of racist, like the actual kind of racist. Yeah, this is an Invicta title last fight, man. It is still a cool scrap. Andrea Lee, for all the racist boyfriends, she's still a decent fighter. She's weird though, like she's very raw. And she's like well rounded, but she's not good in transitions. Even though she's strong in the clinch, she's weird. And JJ Aldrich is like not very athletic, but she's like a slick boxer on the feet. So, but she's not. She's kind of foot slow. Andrea Lee, with age, she also became like pretty foot slow too. So. What else we have? Oh, this one is spicy, man. I like this one. Bruno Silva is fighting Joshua Ban, man. Bruno Silva coming off that loss against Manel Cap, right? Joshua Ban coming off a tremendous win against Cody Durden. Same Cody Durden that was kind of winning against Bruno Silva, but got finished bad against Bruno Silva. So very cool fight, and another step up in competition for Joshua Ban. Cody Durden was like the wrestling kind of test. Bruno Silva is more of like the well-rounded kind of test because he's a guy that is not afraid to strike into the clinch, strike the crazy takedown. Cody Durden, he kind of like turned. He was like scrapping mode, wrestling mode. I feel like Bruno Silva is better incorporated as a fighter, even though he's not as good as a pure wrestler as Durden. But he's a better striker, I feel overall. This is also interesting because Bruno Silva is kind of on the smaller side of the division, just like Joshua Ban. Joshua Ban has been fighting these big ass dudes at flyweight most of the time. I'm still kind of scared for Joshua Ban fighting this often. He probably needs the money, I don't know. But I wish he took a break, man. Especially because he didn't took a break after getting knocked out by Charles Johnson, man. But I love Joshua Ban. We all love Joshua Ban, man. We have Shriram, man. We have Shriram supporting Joshua Ban despite Joshua Ban being like an athletic cheater of the biggest caliber, man. Yeah, you already missed the Rob Fonte's curse, man. Myron Santos is fighting. Let me change the picture. Excuse me. But yeah, Myron Santos is fighting Francis Marshall, and Myron Santos, man. For those of you that don't remember, Myron Santos won the Ultimate Fighter that last season, very weird season, and he looked fucking great in that fight. So I'm very excited about this one, especially because Francis Marshall is a very well-rounded guy that is also going to look to take him down just like his last opponent. But he's a better striker, so we'll see. But very excited about Myron Santos in the UFC. Hopefully he can make weight though, because he looked thick as hell in that fight. I think he missed weight and he still won the Ultimate Fighter. I don't know, man. Okay, next fight. Wang Kong is fighting Bruna Brazil. So, Wang Kong, she was on the bad end of maybe upset of the year after she got like clanked with a head kick going for the cross parry there, and then the left hands, and she's fighting Bruna Brazil, and I might I might have some news related to this fight. So I don't know if I can say anything, so I won't say anything. But it's a very good fight, man, because Bruna Brazil under Fighting Nerds, she looks like a new fighter, man. She looked great in her last fight. So we'll see how she does against Wang Kong, man, because Wang Kong is a high level striker, man. Despite that knockout, I'm still high on Wang Kong. And Bruna Brazil surprised me big time because I was like kind of a Bruna Brazil hater before, but now she's something, man. Okay, Alex Morono versus Carlos Leal. I'm just talking about this one because I know a lot of you guys like Carlos Leal. I'm not super hype on him, but he's fun because he's like a very thick dude that defends takedowns very well and hits people very hard. And he's fighting Alex Morono, who is getting kind of old, and I feel like this is a bad matchup for Morono. I feel like Carlos Leal is going to bonk him. But Morono is weird because he fights like pretty smart, but he's janky as hell, man. And that gets him in trouble sometimes. He comes from a taekwondo background despite not being super athletic, so that's always funny to see. But yeah, man. I feel like Carlos Leal got a lot of fans in that fight against. I can't remember the name of the guy that drops everyone, but that fighter, you know who I'm talking about. What is this? Oh, we have juice on juice action. So Jacob Malkoun was supposed to fight Rodolfo Vieira. That's not happening. Instead of Malkoun, we have Petroski here. I thought the Malkoun fight was more interesting, even though I felt like Vieira was one of the worst matchups in the division for Malkoun. But this is interesting because I'm guessing Petroski will try to keep it on the feet using his wrestling. But Vieira is not that bad of a wrestler, man. And on the feet, it's kind of close. I feel like Petroski probably more athletic, bigger hitter, a little bit faster. But Vieira probably more composed, better put together mechanically as a striker. But Petroski is kind of wild on the feet, man. And Petroski is like a high level grappler, man. So I don't know. Maybe Petroski will try to play top position, but that's so risky against Rodolfo, man. I'm guessing Rodolfo is going to tap him out, man. That's what I'm feeling, man. Yeah, when Rodolfo Vieira gets to do grappling in MMA, it's always a pleasure to see. And when Fluffy Hernandez is grappling Rodolfo Vieira, that's an even greater pleasure to see. Okay, so Kelvin Gastelum is back at middleweight because your boy cannot keep the tackles off. And he's fighting Joe Pyfer, and I feel like Joe Pyfer is going to win this fight. Kelvin Gastelum has one of the craziest chins of all time in MMA. So he might be able to survive the man that punches twice as hard as Francis Ngannou, despite just being 200 pounds. But this is an insane visual, man. Look at these guys. Look at these guys. Kelvin Gastelum is like 5'8". Look at his physique. Pyfer is fucking huge, man. He cuts like 25 pounds. He has sick abs. He's a fucking big dude. Pyfer is a good grappler too, but Gastelum kind of a crazy scrambler at 185, so probably not going that way. I'm just feeling like Pyfer is going to win the kickboxing fight. Just because Gastelum is like getting old and he's fighting big dudes, so I don't know, man. Fucking Kelvin, man. So talented. And he decided to just spend like 90% of his UFC career throwing 1-2s at 185 against old people. That's what happened. Okay, so Shriram missed the Rob Font discourse, but he's not going to miss Kelvin Kattar discourse because Kelvin Kattar is fighting Youssef Salal. This is a very cool fight in my opinion. This one is interesting because we don't know where Kelvin Kattar is right now, right? If we are expecting the same Kelvin Kattar that showed up to the Aljamain Sterling fight, Salal is going to win that one very easily, right? Salal is just very annoying for a guy that is not very mobile, and Kattar looked very flat-footed in that performance against Sterling. Salal moves a lot. He can jab with Kattar. That's something that a lot of fighters cannot do. He will find takedowns in transitions. He will strike during transitions using collar ties to land his very sneaky knees. Obviously, if they get into the pocket, Kattar has a big advantage. Salal is not much of a boxer. So if Kattar can like find him in place, if Kattar shows up in good form and he can get going with like an active footwork, trying with some knees and stuff, and then finds the 1-2, manage to corral Salal, to put him in place for the 1-2, Salal could be in trouble, man. Salal could be in trouble, especially because Kattar is very tough defending takedowns when he can find like a strong whizzer and get like the wrestling in a tall position. And he also has very strong hips, man. But if it's the Kattar from the Sterling fight, I'm feeling like Salal is going to win this one easy. Okay, we just talked about Gastelum and now we have Haxtelum, man. Because we have Haqparast against my boy Stevan Gringo Ribovic. Crazy fight, man. This one should be a banger. Haqparast not as young as he was once, obviously. The time goes on. But yeah, I mean, Haqparast is like very similar to Gastelum in the sense that he's southpaw 1-2s all day, but he's been like getting better at adding better punch variety. And Ribovic is all about punch variety. He has a nasty right hook that very few fighters have. He goes to the body very well. He's a nice combination puncher. Ribovic has gotten into a pretty respectable kicker, especially when he goes high, and that could be very useful to keep Haqparast honest. Haqparast is not against throwing a high kick too. This obviously is orthodox versus southpaw, but Haqparast the more traditional, like just staying on southpaw against Ribovic, who is like using a lot of shifting offense as of late. But this is a fight in which he will not have that crazy length disadvantage, right? I'm guessing Ribovic is probably going to be the taller and longer fighter here. I'm not sure, but they should be pretty close. So this is a crazy fight, man. This is a great fight. Very excited about this one. I would probably watch tape before this one and will post some clips because Hagparas has some nice hands, especially at range with the 1-2, as I said, like Kelvin Gastelum. He can add variety. He can loop the left hand. He can sometimes find the uppercut, so he has some variety in that sense. And Ribas just likes to get on the inside and let go with crazy combinations. And now finish up with the kicks, man. Leg kicks, high kicks. So this is a very nice fight, man. So apparently Hagparas only a year older than Ribas. That's crazy, man. Because he's been in the UFC forever, man. But he was always so young. Fares Siam is fighting Beast Boy Mike Davis. So Mike Davis almost never fights. Apparently he doesn't like to fight. He's very cool. But Fares Siam has been on fire as of late, man. He has been on fire. So I don't know, man. Because Mike Davis, you never know how he's going to show up. Because he's like, he doesn't fight often, but he always looks like he's ready to fight when he does, man. He put on a very, very good performance last time out. So we have comments on chat saying, my boy, Mike Davis, nicest guy ever. That's cool, man, because I always like Mike Davis as a fighter. It's cool to know that he's like a cool person. But yeah, man, this is a very cool fight. High stakes for both guys, because the loser here is probably getting a big step down in competition, and the winner might be looking for a big fight after this. I feel like winner of this one deserves a shot at the top 15. Let me get to the few fights that we have left, and I'll be answering the questions not related to the fights. So Cody Haddon will fight Alexandre Topuria. Has anyone seen tape on Little Topuria? Because I haven't. So I haven't yet. So if he's good or not, let me know. Hopefully he has a similar style to that of his brother. That would be very exciting. Cody Haddon is an interesting, like, on the lower end of bantamweights, but still a very cool fight. What else we have? This one is fucking great, man. Winner of this one, man, should fight for the title? I don't know, man. So we have Royval against Cap. If Cap wins, he gets a title for sure, right? If Royval wins, I'm not sure, because he's like Pantoja's son, right? He doesn't deserve the shot. But this is joking aside. Very cool fight, especially because Royval will bring the volume and the pace to Cap. But Cap has the tools to punish some of the jankiness of Royval, especially when he counters with volume. That's crazy proposition, but at the same time, Royval is tricky at range. Cap has been dealing with super long guys that are very good in the UFC so far, so it's a very cool fight between the sons of Pantoja. Everyone in this division is the son of Pantoja at this point, right? It's crazy because the winner of this one should be fighting for the title, and they both already lost. They both together are 0-3 against Pantoja, so just goes to show you, Pantoja, man, he's the fucking man. He's the fucking dude. And lastly, this one is not very important, but I just wanted to talk about it. Danny Barlow will fight Sam Patterson. A lanky boy on lanky boy action here. Danny Barlow a lot bigger naturally, right? He's not like longer maybe than Sam Patterson, but he's a big dude. He's like a legit 170 guy. I mean, Sam Patterson is also, but he's a guy that used to make 155. So, but yeah, this one is interesting. I don't remember if Patterson is southpaw himself, but Danny Barlow, the left hand from God, he's an interesting prospect because he doesn't have a lot of tools, but he seems like has a good feeling for fight, and he's very athletic and dynamic. Patterson on the other side, he's like tricky and has like the front headlock chokes, so he's cool. He's kind of cool, so this is a cool fight. So yeah, let's get into some questions. Let me change the banner. Yeah, let's put that for the time being. So let me answer some questions. James Kendrick says, general question: how do you stay reserved with your opinions when reacting to fights? I see too many engagement bait takes, but the analysis I respect are always reserved in the reactions. First of all, I'm an old person. I mean, I can get hyped, like you can see it in the fight companions. I go crazy over some knockouts here and there, but I don't know, man. I just feel like some people have the personality to be like very like hype about everything. I'm just not that dude. I'm hyper, but in a different way. I'm just not the kind of guy that is screaming all the time and just being like very exaggerated. I just try to be real with you guys. I'm trying to be genuine. I want people to like me for who I am and not putting on such a big act, because at the end of the day, when you have a podcast, when you're a communicator, you still put on an act, right? You end up creating, either you want it or not, you end up creating a persona, right? Ghost says, content creation type question. How did you improve your writing style when writing analytical pieces? I don't know, man. First, I haven't written a lot, and writing for me is a bit more complex because English is not my first language, right? But I'm a very good writer in Spanish. My I'm very good at Spanish, and I I have a very high level, even among like Spanish speakers. I was like, for example, on a standardized test from for languages and all that kind of stuff. I always did very well. So I try to adapt the writing from Spanish to English. Try to use the same logic and that kind of stuff when I'm writing. But I'm sure that if you read my articles, I still mess up a lot because English is not my first language and I don't have an editor right now. So sometimes I can send the article to someone to proofread it, and then I have to like just try on the internet. But I just try to be like very structured about it, like using paragraphs to communicate a certain idea, and make like a have an article to have like a clear intention to it. Like, what's the purpose of this article? That it's something that has to be very clear, and just use words in a very efficient way to communicate what you're trying to say. But at the same time, do not go like super. Do not be like super basic. Do not be afraid to express yourself as a writer when you're writing an article, because at the end of the day, when someone sits down to read an article, I feel like they want something engaging. They just don't want the information. They want a little bit of personality. They want something that is well redacted. Obviously, I probably fail at the sometimes at the grammar and that kind of stuff, because English is not my first language, right? But I feel like that you gotta try to give a purpose to your writing, and then also the writing to have flavor and to stay engaging, giving it a good structure that follows point by point to lead you to the conclusion that you want to make. So I would say that would be for the writing. Dark Cloud and C says, who do you guys got winning for Prohaska versus Hill fight on the 19th? Man, that's a crazy fight, man. I feel like that's anyone's fight. I mean, this is not a cop-out, but I feel like Hill, after the Pereira fight, he got like super underrated. Hill is still one of the best fighters at 205. Like, he's a bit of a mess. Like, we all seen the Miguel Class clip for the stupid footwork and all of that, but Hill is like a smart fighter. He's very athletic despite looking like he does. So do not count Jamal Hill out, man. He's dangerous. He's maybe not as creative as Jiri is, but I feel like he's a bit smarter with setting up offense and finding openings. I feel like Jiri just tries a lot of stuff, and then when he finds something, he can go at it again. I feel like Jamal Hill is a little bit more cerebral in that sense. He's trying to set you up, he's using the variety, he's changing the direction of the fight, he sometimes moves on the outside, sometimes he pressures, he can put combinations together, so that's a very interesting fight, man. I'm leaning Jiri because I don't know where Jamal Hill is mentally, and we all know that Jiri is always the same fighter, so I'm leaning Jiri. But I feel like Jamal Hill is maybe a better fighter overall, but it's hard to tell, right? But yeah, that are my thoughts on that one. And that's the podcast, guys. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. We had a healthy chat. Thank you so much to everyone for showing up. Remember to follow this channel, the Fight Side Presents, where I'm posting now like short, like 10-minute kind of YouTube videos. Other than the podcast and the live streaming, I'll be playing video games soon too. Remember that on Saturday I'll be doing the Fight Companion, so I'll be offering alternate commentary to the fights. And finally, guys, if you want to support me with a little bit of money, please head over to Patreon, patreon.com/fightside. You can get access to a lot of exclusive content. There's over 150 videos of alternate commentary that are very good that you can watch. There are like 40 exclusive breakdowns that are only on the Patreon. So yeah, if for only like $1 or $2, like everything helps. So if you guys can support me that way, I really appreciate it. If you don't have the money or don't want to, you can like and subscribe over here on the channel. You can follow me on X, on Blue Sky, on Threads. I'm everywhere. And you can just share my content over there. And that would be it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. And I'll catch you on the next one.